Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you? How is everybody doing? B, I'm so excited to be here with you.
Same.
This is
super excited.
I've been thinking about this for a month. I feel like I've posted like 70 times before I got
Thank you,
here.
sister. That's so sweet.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so inspired by you. I feel like what you've done is so monumental. It's so big for Black women. It's big for women. It's big for people in general. I mean, for everybody here that is sitting and listening, we're looking at a founder that is exited and not completely exited, right? You're still in the mix, but $380 million, which is just such a big deal.
Thank you.
It's a huge deal. So.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here with you. For everybody who is new to who B. Dixon is, I'm sure you know her product line. It is called the Honey Pot. The Honey Pot Company, I'm sure you've seen it before in stores. It is everywhere. It is a company that is made by humans with vaginas for humans with vaginas.
Yes.
Yes, I love that you're so bold in the way that you say that. You say the word vagina often. Can you talk to me about that?
Well, I just think that we need to be okay with it. You know,
We do.
nobody would be here without a vagina, right?
I agree.
Every human that's walking around in here all came through a vagina. You know?
Absolutely.
And even if they didn't, even if your mommy had a C-section, it took a vagina and a penis for you to be here. So
Correct.
let's give it up for the vaginas.
Let's give it up. Okay, that's a perfect segue into my first question, which is like, what did you learn about womanhood growing up as as a woman? You embody femininity to me.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You really do.
I appreciate you saying that because, you know, in business, you are pulling from a masculine place, you know? And it's a lot of masculine energy. And I think that, you know, I've often heard that I can be a bit masculine sometimes, you know? And I was just my besties are over here. I was just talking to them this morning about how I feel like we bring out the femininity in each other, which is why we spend so much time together, you know. But I really appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that because I'm working on that, you know.
Yeah, I see it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I see
you.
it.
Thank you. But my mommy it was really important to her that I knew and understood my body, you know. She was excited when I got my cycle. It's wild, but she talked to me about masturbation when I was like, it's crazy. Like she talked to me about this when I was like 14 years old
Oh wow.
at IHOP with a table of my friends. Can you imagine the
With everybody
embarrassment?
around.
Yes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she's like, so what are you guys doing with that? How's that going? You know? And so she just wanted me to be in touch with my body, with myself, you know, and so I'm grateful for that.
I love that. Being so empowered as a woman, a part of that, I believe, is like really sitting with your sexuality, who you are, discovering yourself.
It is.
And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's so
No,
beautiful.
mean,
I
you know,
love that.
maybe
You got it
was
from mom.
TMI. Maybe it was TMI, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Honey Pot was a manifestation of a dream. Your grandmother came to you. I know that for some of you who know Honey Pot, you've heard this story before, but this is so beautiful. I would love for you to share how your grandmother came to you in a dream and kind of what you were going through health-wise and what happened.
Yeah, so I had bacterial vaginosis for almost a year. It would come every single month right after my period. And so I lived on antibiotics. I lived on clindamycin. I lived on Flagyl. And nobody should be living on antibiotics, right? They wreck your microbiome, your gut, your vagina, everything. And you're not creating an environment to heal, you know? And
Absolutely.
so I never healed because medical doctors weren't necessarily taught the natural ways of healing. They're more so based in science, like let's just kill the bacteria, start over again. But when you're in the cycles of your period, you know, just 2 or 3 more cycles isn't enough for your body to recover. And part of my problem was I was using the wrong thing to wash myself every day. I was just
Oh.
using whatever I used to wash my body, right?
Right.
And so
okay.
my pH was constantly off because I was throwing it off every day. And then when you get your period, your pH rises naturally because blood is higher, has a higher pH. And so whenever my period would be going off, so when my pH was trying to go back down, it would go back down to the wrong place. So I was constantly getting BV.
Okay.
So that's how reoccurring infection happens. It could be BV, it could be yeast, it could be UTIs, it could be whatever, because these bacteria don't really leave your body, right? They just go and hide until a beautiful environment is created for them to multiply, and they multiply by the billions. And here goes another infection, right? And so I was living with that. And one morning, my grandmother, to call it a dream probably doesn't give it the respect that it deserves, because we were there. We were together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we weren't dreaming. And she basically handed me a piece of paper, told me that this was what was going to solve my problem. And I just needed to memorize what was on the paper. And so I did that. I repeated it like 100 times. And then she told me to wake up. She yelled at me, wake up. And I was like, and I woke up, you know? And I literally woke up saying, apple cider vinegar, lavender, rose, coconut oil, garlic. Like, I woke up saying this list, and I wrote it down, and I worked at Whole Foods at the time. So I went to work, I bought all the stuff, I went home. I had no idea what I was about to make, by the way. And what I ended up making was a vulva wash. And that was our first wash. And I started using it because I had BV at the time. And literally within days, and the BV I had, you guys, was the worst. It was like smelly. I had a lot of discharge. It was bad. It was like I was the person that stunk up the bathroom. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Sometimes when you walk into a public bathroom and it smells, that could be a thing. I was that person. And so I was constantly in shame. I was constantly embarrassed. You know, when you can't get your body right, especially when you can't get your coochie right, it's just hard. Honestly, it is. And so, you know, it solved my problem within a few days. It took like 4 or 5 days. It's wild.
And then it was done. Like, it never came back?
It did not come back. It
Oh.
did not come back. And so the moment that I realized that it had worked, I was like, wow, this is what I do now, you know? So it wasn't like I was like, ooh, I want to start a business and I'm going to make all this money. It wasn't that kind of energy. You know, I just felt like if it could work for me, it could work for other people. And, you know, I'm grateful because it's worked out for millions of people.
That's so beautiful. I love that you have such a connection ancestrally, right? Like to your grandmother. She'd passed?
Oh, yeah. My grandmother transitioned when my mother was a child.
Oh, wow.
I never met my grandmother until that moment. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah, I'm literally
She was
right
like,
now.
let me go help this baby.
Yeah.
Because she don't know what she's doing with her poor little vagina. Let me go help her. Because she knew what to do.
Yeah.
But they knew what to do, you know?
Yeah.
Like, our ancestors just knew what to do, you know?
You know, that makes me think about when sometimes you can solve things and you solve it for yourself, right? Like, you solve it for yourself and you're like, okay, good, you're going to tell all your friends, and then you let it go. What made you want to turn it into a company?
Because I was so this is like what social media is today. Maybe like Facebook was out, but it wasn't. It was still a college thing. It wasn't, you know. And so you still had to go on like Google forums and talk to people, you know. It was so I was going on these Google forums, and I was like, we were all conversating and like telling each other what worked and what didn't work, and like I was trying everything. I was like putting yogurt in a tampon applicator and freezing it. I was putting a piece of garlic and sewing a tampon string in and putting that. I mean, I was doing
Everything.
wild things because I was desperate, you know? And it wasn't just me. I mean, I was talking to so many people, and some of those people had been having BV for much longer than I had, right? And so I just felt like there was such a need. And I don't know, like I like to share, you know? Like, what's the point of having such a gift if you're not gonna share it? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I agree with you. The entire purpose of my show, It Takes a Village, for everybody who's new here, is your first time ever hearing it, it is a show about creative centering gratitude, talking about your story of how you built your company, but who helped you build it. And part of that is like sharing, right? I live by that. I love that sharing is such a big part of who
That's
you
what we're
are.
supposed to do with each other. That's why we're all here, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so you're in the business part of it, and I'm sure that you had a lot of chaos in the very beginning. Who helped hold you down? Who was part of your village that helped hold you down?
Oh man. So Cy, my co-founder, brother, he was like, he really held it down, you know. He had his own business. He was doing his own thing, but he saw what I was trying to do, you know, and he was like, I would constantly go to him for advice. And I was broke. Like, I was making like $10, $12 an hour working at Whole Foods. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't making a lot of money. But I knew that it wouldn't be responsible to just take the product that I had made for myself and just put it out into the world. I had to test it first. You know, you have to iterate something like that. And so I worked on it for like a year and a half, you know, just making formulas, giving it away. It was like a hood clinical trial. It was hilarious, but it worked, you know? Yeah. And so he gave me a credit card. It had like a $500 limit, you know?
Okay.
And then it was like a Capital One prepaid card or something. But it worked. That's what I needed, you know? And he would pay that bill for me every month, and you know, and he was just like a rock, you know? But he was still doing his thing. And then you know, so he was a big part. This is kind of like before we decided we were really gonna do it, you know? So my mommy, when we finally launched Honey Pie at Bronner Brothers Hair Show, there, you know, my friends, you know what I mean? Like it was just, everybody just came together. We made assembly lines. We had bottles and caps and ingredients, and we were putting it in like a, y'all know what you put iced tea in with the spigot? Cause I was like, how we gonna do this? You know, and we would just make honey pot, and we would put it in there and mix it up, because it's a cold blend. It's not a hot blend, you know.
Oh, right, okay.
Because when you make products, like for example, a body butter or a lotion or something like that, that's a hot blend thing.
You can heat it before
You have to heat it,
okay,
so that you can mix it and put it all together. But what honey pot was like something that was made from water and, you know, saponified oils and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so, you know, so it was, we were just hustling. We were just thugging, you know?
Yeah.
And it worked.
Man, doing trade shows, you were in it.
Oh, man.
You were in it.
Yeah. I remember the first Essence Fest. We were just doing a bunch of hair shows.
Circuit.
Right?
Yes. Hair show circuit.
The hair circuit, y'all. And so every time you did one, you were getting ready for the next one. Somebody come by the booth to sell you for the next one. And this guy came by and was like, you should have a booth at Essence Fest. Y'all, it was like 1,000 degrees. It was outside on asphalt. We did not know until we got here.
You weren't even inside the building?
Inside. No, we were not inside the building.
No.
And then the guy didn't have a license to be out in the parking lot. It was wild. It was like, yeah.
Was it a side quest to Essence, or was it actually Essence?
No, sister, it was a side quest of Essence. But you know, we was at Essence. We was at Essence. We could say we was at Essence.
Y'all made it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're in the thick of it, and then there's so much that happens before you actually get acquired. But I do want to skip ahead to that a little bit because I feel like for me, when I saw the day that you got acquired, I was like so excited for you.
Thank you.
I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Just to see a woman who looks like me, a black woman, and it was just like it's such a big deal. And you're currently the CEO, but you're still with the company.
Still the CEO, still the chief innovation officer.
Yeah.
Still working 60, 70 hours a week, you know, because
Okay.
it wasn't a full acquisition.
Okay, can you explain this? Because we were talking about this backstage, and I thought this was really, really interesting. So, anybody who has a business, if you have a business, if you or you want to have a business, this is a really cool story. Could you go into this?
So basically the way it works, right? You've been running your business and you've had multiple rounds of funding, right? You've got your original people that was probably there 10 years ago. Then we, shout out to the New Voices fam, venture capital, they came in. Then after that, a private equity fund came in, right? So when you raise venture capital and private equity money, there's rules that come to that. The venture capital is a little bit more lenient. Private equity is like, when they're growth seed private equity investors, their timeline is like 4 years, right? And so when you sign on to do an investment like that, it's like, hey, if we're gonna do this, then you have to have an exit or an IPO, but IPO is far and few between, right? You have to have some sort of event within 4 years. So, and the reason for that is because they have to turn their money. That's how quick they got to turn their money, right? Venture capital can go a little longer than that, right?
Okay.
Growth or seed investors can go longer than that. Family and friends investors, they just know that they're there for the long haul no matter what, right? And so the type of partnership that we had was a majority acquisition. So what that means is they came in and they bought out all of the previous investors.
Okay.
And then they gave us an opportunity to have a cash event as well. Because imagine, you're running your business, you're growing it, you're comfortable financially because you're making good money, because the business has gotten to the point to where, we became a big business, right? Not big like a conglomerate or something, but for us to be a small company, we became a big company, right?
What size were you at that moment?
We were around 100 million.
Okay.
And that, when you get to that point, that normally signifies that it's time, right? Because you don't want to be so big that you price yourself out, right? And so we went through a majority acquisition. So they bought out everybody, and then I sold 50% of my equity, which, you guys, I did not own 50% of the business by now, just so you know, right? Because that's not how it works. And then it gives you an opportunity to go out to market again. And so the next time that we go out to market, it would be a full acquisition, which that's when you're getting bought by a strategic like Unilever or, a Procter & Gamble or a Kimberly-Clark or something like that. And the thing about it is you don't have a choice, right? Because it's private equity once again. And these people don't invest the kind of money that they've invested to just let you sit, right? It needs to turn because they have limited partners. And the partner that we went with is a publicly traded company. And so, at some point, they have to get a return on their investment. So that's how it works.
Okay. This makes me think about investing as a whole, because I think as a community, as a Black community especially, I think we have really heightened and glorify the idea of investing.
Yes.
or getting an investor. Can you share who you think would be the right person, or the right company to get an investor versus like, how did you know it was right? Essentially, is what I'm saying. Not just because of the amount of money you were making, but like the fact that you were like, okay, it's time to have an investor. How did you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you mean in the beginning?
Well, yeah, because I think once you start right, my understanding is that once you start to take money, the idea eventually is to sell.
Yeah,
Is that right?
that is right.
Okay. Yeah.
Because what's the point?
Right.
Right? Like how does an investor make their money back? They don't make their money back by just investing and leaving it into your business, right? And so and that's the thing that's interesting, because in our communities a lot of times when you do sell, it can be looked at as a sell out, which is absurd, because this is just how business works. Like, you know.
Absolutely, I agree.
And so, you know, you have to do that. And also, that's how you obtain your wealth.
Yeah.
And what is the reason why all of us work? Is because we have to make money. And what's the reason to go so hard as you have to go to build a multi-million dollar business? Like, you're living on planes, trains, automobiles, hotels, eating out. You're living under a level of stress that is not normal or natural, right? You're stretching yourself in ways, in your mind, in ways that you didn't even know were possible, you know? And so the investment of time and energy and stress and life and sacrifice and hustle and grind and gut and intuition and all the things that have to happen in order for you to be successful, you know, it's yeah, like you that's the point, right? It should make you wealthy, you know? But the way that you know is your business is constantly growing. If the business is constantly growing and needing capital in order to grow, that's when you know that you need to raise some money. You know, for us, what the indication was, we got into Target, right? If you're gonna get into a mass market retailer, you literally are buying things to sell things. That's what you're doing. In CPG, you gotta buy things to sell things, to buy things to sell things. It's constant, right? And so
You needed the money to scale.
you need the money to scale, because you're not gonna scale. Like there's some people like Janelle from Camille Rose, right? She has built her brand. She's built it. And she hasn't had to raise tons of money, right? But she made a conscious decision that was what she was gonna do. And she's built a ridiculously beautiful company doing that, right? Then you have Honey Pot, right? Like it was a decision to scale and grow and want to be a multi-hundred-million-dollar brand. And you know, like it just depends on what you want, because you can do both and you can be successful at both, right? But like for me, I like money, y'all. I really do. I really do.
Yeah.
And I also, at some point in my life, want to use my brain for other things. Like Honey Pot is not the last thing that I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
I definitely understand what you're saying.
And so, like, you know, in order to do that, Honey Pot needs to be insanely successful for me to do that, right? Because I don't ever want to have another Honey Pot again. Anything else I do, I want it to be successful, but I don't want to have to grind myself into the ground to make it that. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I've heard you also use the term conscious capitalist.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Because I relate to that.
I didn't make that up. I didn't make that up.
Yeah, I've heard you use it before, though, and I liked it. And
Yeah,
I said, okay, yeah.
yeah.
So that's kind of what it makes me think about, because you're creating a product that's good for women. It's good for wellness.
Yeah.
It's good for people, humans with vaginas.
Yeah.
And we're able to benefit from that. But you're also like, this is a business I got in to make money, and I love that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get into it to make money, but then when I got into it, I was like, I could probably really make some money. You know? But I'm into making things for humanity. And I want to do that more. I like making staples for people, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of the things I enjoy.
What do you think is the most misunderstood about you as a founder?
That's a hard question. I think sometimes they put, especially black women founders for some reason, we get held to a standard that is insane. You know, it's almost like we aren't like people or humans sometimes, you know? And I think that, so I'm not just saying this for me, I'm saying it for like humans with vaginas that look like me and that are building businesses and growing and doing the things. I think the thing that, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm just gonna speak to the experience. I think the thing that's misunderstood is that we're human beings like everybody else. And we're just trying to build a business, and we're just trying to create wealth for ourselves and our family, and we're just trying to, you know, be healthy and run things and make things that work for people and improve people's lives. And, you know, we're no different than the old school brands. We're no different than what Vaseline was when it first came out, right? Or what Cream of Nature was when it first came out. Or think of all these brands that are in here that have been around for our parents, our grandmas, our mommies, our aunties, right? Think of us the same way you think of them. You're not tripping at them if they change something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, give it up.
You know?
I like that. Okay. While growing as a woman and a leader, because obviously there's been so much time as you've been working on this, what are you doing differently now to protect your peace versus year one?
I am really caring for myself. You know, I'm eating well, I'm working out, I'm making time to be with my friends, my man, my dog, my family. I'm just like, I'm caring for myself, you know? And that only has happened in the last 5 years, to be honest. You know, I was just going for it before. And I think I had to really like stop, because it's not really sustainable to just go, you know? Your body can fail you, you can get sick. I mean, it's exhausting, you know? And so I'm just making time.
Yeah, making time for you.
Yeah.
Currently, the wellness space is at a certain place, but like within the next 5 years, what do you expect to see? What do you hope to see?
I think where skincare, beauty, vaginal wellness, I think where things are going is actually in a really beautiful place. I think it's going to be like functional. I think function. I think simplicity. You know, I think, you know, better for you is the new conventional, you know? And so I think people are gonna use things less that are full of toxic chemicals, and you know, the average person is looking for clean and efficacious and function, and they're, you know, people are looking for herbs and plants and things like that. People want to know, they want to be able to pronounce the ingredients in their ingredient deck. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I think that that's where things are going.
Yeah. I'm such a fan of your products. I use them. I really love the panty liners. The size of them
Thank you.
is what I like so much.
you.
But it's also, I was thinking about, you have a new product that's coming out.
Yes.
Yeah, can you talk about that?
It's out.
Okay.
It's out.
Okay.
So we in March of this year, we launched the most beautiful herbal blend of pads. So historically we've had our cooling pads, which that's what everybody loves and knows. But we just launched a new herbal blend, and it's called Calming, like I was just talking about with function. And they're infused with ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen herb that helps with like stress and calming, you know. Lemon balm, lavender. They're just really beautiful. And they've actually been clinically proven to help to ease skin irritation. And so, because some people get irritated by wearing pads. The good thing about our pads is that they're made with beautiful organic cotton, and then we infuse them with these herbs, and then you get the benefit of the herbs. And the other thing is it's like aromatherapy for your vulva. It's beautiful. And like when you open it up, you should smell it because it's gorgeous.
I'm excited. I love lavender. My mom
Me too.
always gave me lavender when I was little. Like she would like spray it on the pillow.
She did?
Yeah, or like I'll take the essential oil, I'll put it on my wrist.
Yeah.
I'll like smell it before I go to bed. It's one of my favorite scents,
Yeah,
favorite
me too.
herbs.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Okay, so a lot of people want to be an entrepreneur. They've romanticized it. I think it's become like on social media, I feel like it's everywhere where people are like, be an entrepreneur, you can live this life. But, as somebody who's worked for myself personally for like over 10 years, I know what it's like. As a makeup artist, I started my career as a makeup artist. I used to literally carry like a 50-pound bag up like 5 flights of stairs for 7 years.
Wow.
Because like that was the place where I could afford to live.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I want you to share, what do you think we're romanticizing, and how can you kind of like give it to us straight in terms of like how do you know someone's gonna make it? Can you see it in their eyes?
I am not the sensei of if somebody's gonna make it. I think, first of all, I think you have to know if you're gonna make it, right? I can't say that. But I do think it's very important when you want to be in business that you have the ability to focus. A lot of times when we go into business, we want to be like, I want to do this. And then you start doing that, and then you realize what it actually takes to make money and be successful at the thing, and you're not necessarily making the amount of money you want to make. So you're like, okay, maybe I can go start this thing, right? And I'm going to go start this thing, and then it's going to feed into this thing. And then, and then the same thing happens with that, and then you go and do the next thing. And you're like, I got 5 businesses.
Yeah.
But y'all, if you want to be successful at a thing, you got to put your head down. Now, you can have a job, right? Because I believe that it's important, especially when you're first starting a company and it's your first one, and you're hustling and grinding at it. It's okay if you gotta have a job that's your side hustle, so that you can eat, so that everything your business makes can go right back into your business. But you're not gonna. I don't want to say what you're not gonna do, but I want to be responsible with my words. But I will say that it's really hard to be successful when you're all over the place, right? I think the art to being successful is knowing when, is being really tapped into your intuition. It is deeply believing in yourself. I mean, like in a religious way, right? Because, no disrespect to what anybody believes, this is just what I believe. We are all made in the image of God, which means that we are God, right? And so we all have the ability to do and dream and be the things that we want to be. But there is some stuff that you got to have, because not everybody's going to be successful, right? Not everybody's going to have a multi-$100-million or billion-dollar exit, right? Not everybody's going to be able to raise millions of dollars, right? Some people don't even need to raise. Some people just need to build a business that's a lifestyle business, and it makes a couple $100,000 a year, and you can live on that, and that's dope, right? I think that we romanticize the things that we see, not realizing that it's almost an anomaly to be able to sell your business, to be able to make hundreds of millions of dollars. That's why everybody can't do it, right? It's not meant for all of us to do. But that doesn't mean that all of us can't be successful at doing what is meant for us to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know? And
Follow yours.
so I said, follow yours, man. Dream, keep your eye on the prize, stay focused, grind, hustle, do what you got to do, but don't compare yourself, right? Don't be like, oh, I see that, I want to do that, you know? Or I think that's one of the ways that social media has plagued us, because it sells a dream. Because nobody tells you what it really takes in order to scale. You know, it's rough, right? By the time you've scaled and made a $100 million business, you might own 10% of your company. If you own 20, you're winning. You understand what I'm saying? Now, don't make me wrong. 20% or 10% of a pie that could sell for multi-hundreds of millions of dollars, that's a lot of money. So don't be afraid of that, right? But just know that it's not sweet. It's not amazing. It's not fun. There's fun moments, there's amazing moments, but most of the time it's really hard, you know? And anything can happen. Anything can fall out of the sky. Tomorrow, all of this stuff could just leave, right? And I think you also have to be humble enough and kind enough with yourself to understand that, you know? And I think the other thing that's important is that you're good to the people that help you get there, and you treat them like human beings, and you love on them, and you respect them, and you appreciate them, because we can't get anywhere without help, without the people that help us, you know what I mean? And so there's a lot that goes into if you're gonna be successful in all the things. Some of it's luck, some of it's God, some of it's just pure hustle and grind. Some of it's stuff that nobody can teach you. You just have to be born with it. You know? You just have to be born with it. You know? And so it's like, I can't say what those things are, but if you got it, you got it. You know?
I love when you talk and you just like, you go into this mode where you're just like, it's like stream of consciousness. And it's such a beautiful experience. I was just like sitting like,
thank you.
Yes.
Because you know,
thank you.
I really appreciate that, but it is a stream of consciousness, and I don't take this lightly.
Feel that.
You know, I'm extremely grateful that I was born with the gifts that I've been born with. You know, that it was destined for me to create Honey Pot. I'm just grateful for that. And I don't say any of it with ego, you know? But it is a stream of consciousness. When you're making things for people to use on their body, you have to do that well. You know, you
Yes.
just have to. Because I make things that people use on their vagina, on their babies' vaginas, you understand? So it has to be a stream of consciousness, because you know, it's not something to take lightly. This is how we come here. This is a portal. It's a universe. It's a beautiful thing. And so this is like a religion for me, y'all. You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
What changes do you think we need to make as women with our bodies? Like specifically Black women, what do you feel like we don't know about ourselves?
Actually, quite the opposite. I think we do know about ourselves.
Okay, tell me more.
I'm never going to say what somebody doesn't know about themselves, because I don't know what you don't know. I don't even know what I don't know, you know? Erica said it, and somebody else wise said it before. If we know anything, it's that we don't know anything. I think that we do know. I think that we have to tap into our bodies. I think that all of us are intuitive. I think that when your body has an illness, all that it's doing is communicating to you that something's wrong. that there is a dis-ease, that there is that something is off balance, that some hormone is off, that something is broken, right? And so I think that, like for me, the impetus of Honey Pot, I was getting BV every month. Something's not right, right? And so I think it's tapping into yourself. It's tapping into your intuition. I think that it's looking at what you're eating. Are you drinking water? Right? Are you stopping to take a breath? Are you going to bed? How much sleep are you getting at night? What did you eat yesterday? You know what I'm saying? So I think just being really tapped into your body, because this is what we came here. This is really like all we have, y'all. Like all the other stuff is made up, right? The money, the experiences, the things we use on our body, all that stuff is made up. But our bodies are real, and it's a part of nature. And so I would say that you do know, and when you know, I think that it's important for you to go and seek counsel.
Follow your intuition.
Follow your intuition. Go to the doctor. Take supplements if you can afford it. Don't just see a regular medical doctor. See an integrative medical doctor or a functional medical doctor. Not just a naturopath. That's a different type of doctor, right? A functional doctor actually practices Western medicine, and they practice Eastern medicine, right? They're an actual MD that's gone to medical school, but they see the balance of both, right? The thing that's unfortunate is that those doctors don't typically take insurance. So you might have to stack up your bread to go see that doctor, right? But that might mean not doing something else so that you can do that. But so what I would say is just invest your money and your time in your body, in your soul, in your gut, and taking, because our gut is where everything lives.
Absolutely.
And so, so I think we know, we just have to tap into ourselves, and we have to be willing to make the sacrifice to do it, because self-care is real hard. These are easy words that we've been conditioned to, but really caring for yourself is hard, and it can be expensive.
Yeah. I want to finish this with one last question. This show is called It Takes a Village, and I love to highlight different people as you continue to grow your business. But I would love for you to highlight somebody specifically, either personally or professionally, that has really helped you along your journey.
I would say right now the person that's coming to mind is my president of the company. Her name is Allie. I wouldn't be able to do it without her, and so she's a person that, it's not just her, like the entire team is the village, but if I shouted anybody out, it would probably be her at this moment.
That's amazing. Okay, can you tell everybody where they can follow you, where they can buy Honey Pot?
Yes.
I hope everybody buys it today. I love it so much.
Thank you, sister. So you can find me at I am BEA Dixon, Dixon, or you can find Honey Pot at the Honey Pot Co. on all the social handles. Honey Pot is sold nationwide in Target, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Meijer. I mean, honestly, if you go to thehoneypot.co and go to the store locator, you can literally just put in your zip code, and I am so grateful to say that we have finally made it, y'all. There's probably a store real close to your house.
Amen.
Anywhere that you can go. Yes, amen.
I love that.
Ashe, I'm grateful.
I love that. And you can follow me at Delina Medhin, DeLinaMedhin. The name of my show is It Takes a Village. You can follow us on all social media. Thank you so much, B, for doing this.
Thank you, Delina, for bringing me here. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and for being here. I really, really appreciate it.